to Future films. Raise up.
Oh, guy. Found a victim. I mean person. Please move quickly and quietly to the nearest exit. Yes.
So yeah, it's pretty amazing after so many years. But in 1985, Back to the Future one, the number one opened up, and it's like the opening never quit. It just keeps playing, and I guess what's particularly gratified is how many people have come up and say that Back to the Future changed their lives, or they chose certain careers because of the influence of the movies, of the Back to the Future films. And that's great.
Doc Brown has influenced many people into careers in science, architecture, physics,
engineering, medicine.
Biff has inspired many mafia thugs, for example. Many pro hockey players who are basically enforcers, that sort of thing. So it warms the cockles of my heart.
We've seen a growing resurgence of Biff sympathizers, though. We have seen it, people who are like, you know what, Biff's not that bad of a guy, just misunderstood.
No, Biff is that bad of a guy.
So I should be careful when those people say that.
Yeah, yes, if people say, you know, Biff's not that bad of a guy, they're not very bright. Pay close attention, because he's supposed to be bad, he is bad, and that was the idea for the story.
Okay. So I gotta get some new friends. That's what I just found out.
That's right.
Yeah. But did you have this feeling when you were making this movie? Did you feel like, oh, we're on to something here? Like this is going to be a thing that's going to be talked about for years and years to come, or was it just?
I really didn't get that. I wasn't that confident about it because you don't know. You know, film may feel good while it's shooting, and then collapse in the theaters. But I mean, I just wanted to see it have a good opening, and then it just never stopped, never quit.
I was very confident of my part in it. I thought Chris was a weak link, but we overcame it. No, actually, I think, well, it had gone through many problems. The star was replaced in the movie. It went sort of longer than we had anticipated and stuff. So really, you're not very sure. Is this thing, when it comes together, is it really good? And a friend of mine, there's a thing called a Walla group in movie making, where you've made the movie, but you need, in all of the scenes, you need all of the people talking in a restaurant. My friend was the voice of the dispatcher on the tow truck that takes George McFly's car. They just need somebody to go, 10-4, take the car, whatever. So my friend was in a Walla group. Well, the Walla people are in this group, and they get to watch the movie before anybody else. So my friend called me at my house. He had seen the movie piece by piece. He called me and said, this thing is really good. I mean, really good. I said, oh, well, that's terrific. But the word started spreading really kind of person by person. I mean, Los Angeles is, it's a company town. It's an industry town. So everyone starts to hear, I think this thing is better than anybody thinks. Because Goonies was the big movie.
Yeah.
That was the Amblin Entertainment, Steven Spielberg company. Goonies had waterfalls, pirate ships, kids, all kinds of things. They got their jackets at the end of the movie with leather, Letterman jackets, leather. Back to the Future was this little movie about a car that had kind of problems, but it's a time machine car. We got these cheapo windbreakers. Remember the little blue? We got these blue windbreakers, like here, $4 windbreaker. Huh? Thanks for being in it. But then the summer started coming, and they screened it. At that point, they had to screen movies for the theater owners to see how many theaters the theater owners wanted to put the movie in. How good's the movie? How excited are the theater owners? They had a screening. They weren't ready. It was a rough cut. They showed it for the theater owners, and the theater owners went crazy. said, this thing is fantastic. And then, the tsunami of Back to the Future was starting to build. Like, maybe this thing is really big. Yeah.
I mean, if you guys still have those windbreakers and you're not doing anything with those, I think Andre and I could take those off your hands. We'd be thrilled. They're just cheap $4 windbreakers.
I'll have to go into my closet and find my old blue windbreaker.
Do you guys have any fan experiences that really stand out in all of your years going to these cons and meeting people? Is there anything that has really stood out in your mind meeting fans?
I haven't been to many. I haven't been to many cons. I'll tell you, people, get your photographs in now because this is like a Bigfoot sighting. Okay? I'm waving my arms, walking between the trees. Just, I think that's him, and then I'm going. I haven't been doing these kinds of things. I'm relatively new to it, but the stories, the letters, the contact with people about the movies, and I think Chris can speak to it too, but just has been so amazing over the years, it's really hard to pinpoint one or two things. I got a letter from Scotland from a young man who said, pardon me, I don't want to seem crazy, but I want to thank you because Biff brought me out of my coma.
What?
He said, I was in a car accident and in a coma for a number of weeks. And my dad knew that I loved Back to the Future. So he kept playing it over and over and over. And in my dream in the coma, I kept thinking, why is Biff yelling at me? And that thing, hello, anybody home? Hello, anybody home? Brought a young man out of a coma. From that, there are so many stories of people meeting each other, people getting married because of the movie. For me, in my role, because I was bullied in school, I was the victim of a lot of bullying, and bullying is, of course, a major topic in social media and everything. So being able to connect with people in that regard, who've heard about my story with the role, and being able to talk to them in that respect about bullying and things, that's been very, very satisfying to me.
And did you bring anybody out of the coma?
Let him keep talking. He'll put us into a coma.
That's what I'm afraid of, but no, not exactly. But somebody came up today and what did she was in some sort of circumstance in her young life where she would just play she was living alone and playing Back to the Future over and over and over and over and over again, and it helped her recover from whatever she was going through. And there was something, and it makes you feel good.
I think it's a weird Back to the Future specifically, not to get all Mr. Sociology or something. But it did happen at an interesting intersection of the media. Back to the Future was the first movie, I think, where VHS was newly coming out. So it really was the first movie where people would start coming up to me saying, I've seen it 343 times. So 1985 was about that time when you would either buy the movie or rent the movie, because as kids don't know, but before that, you had to wait until they came back on television or whatever. This concept of just being able to, I like it so much, just put it on again, was very new. Mm-hmm. So it happened at the beginning of technologies like VHS, the beginnings of cable television, where people started saying, they put it on TV last night, and the next night, and the night after that. So I think it was really one of the very first movies that the super saturation point that we all know now about television and movies being played over and over, but that happened at the very time that Back to the Future was released, and it was really one of the first ones.
Mm-hmm. It's very true, though. It's like the movies that came out at that time when you were first getting the VHS, it's like you did have that repeat, because I had a copy of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, and I remember playing that all the time, too, so that's so true. I didn't think about it that way, but that's so cool.
Ah, Mr. Sociologist.
Yeah.
But I thought it was an interesting case that changed society, it changed the way everybody looks at their entertainment. Like a Beatles album, you could play that over and over, but you couldn't do that with movies. And then suddenly you could.
And another thing you guys kind of started off with as well, because if I remember correctly, Back to the Future 2 and 3 were kind of filmed at the same time or around the same time, correct?
I think Back to the Future 2 was about 2 years after 1.
But it was the first to be filmed consecutively.
Yeah.
Back to the Future 2 was supposed to be a movie called Paradox. And the script was this thick because all of the Western stuff was in there, everything was in there. And they just thought, well, we're going to have to cut some things in order to make it Back to the Future 2, but we have the Western thing. And then the conversation became, we can't cut out the West, we can't do this. So then it was the first movie that Universal Studios did. We're going to do Back to the Future 2 and Back to the Future 3 consecutively.
It's interesting because like now a lot of times with franchise films, that's already planned.
Especially with kids,
yeah,
because the kids are going to grow, so they do the movies consecutively. But Back to the Future 2 and 3 were the first ones that they did like that.
I love that you said about watching the movie on repeat, and you know, there's so many people out here who have probably done this exact same thing. I want to know, do either of you have any sort of franchise or story or anything that you would watch 326 times in a row because you love it that much?
Just Back to the Future.
Yeah. We just get together and watch Back to the Future over and over. And we say, oh, you were so good. Oh, we just tell each other. I think like everybody, like Back to the Future is that movie for so many people who come up to us and say, whenever it's on TV, it's halfway through, and you think, oh, Back to the Future, and they just end up watching it. Now, I don't do that sort of thing. I'm an older guy, so those old thriller movie, Casablanca, anything like that. When you say, oh, Casablanca, let's watch it, honey, or something. Or guy movies, spy movies. My son is in the room, and I'm like, 3 Days of the Condor. Like, I don't have no. Come on, Robert Redford is a spy for the CIA.
No, I've been thinking about that film lately.
3 Days of the Condor?
Go ahead, yeah.
Well, it's an old yarn that you end up watching.
Yeah?
What movie do you love? What movie do you love? You love Bad Day at Black Rock.
Bad Day at Black Rock.
You love that movie.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, thank you for bailing me out here. Bad Day at Black Rock. Let's have a show of hands. How many people have seen Bad Day at Black Rock? Yeah, there's a few. A paltry few. But,
how many people have seen The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance? It's a great movie. Young people who are here, it's so wonderful that we think you have a whole life to watch these wonderful movies. So many movies that mom and dad can show you that if you have a little bit of patience, some are black and white, some look old style, but a little bit of patience for just wonderful stories, wonderful performances. A Western like Shane, Back to the Future. Biff's a great bad guy. But if you see Jack Palance in Shane, just incredible bad guy. The scariest guy I'd ever seen in the movies.
Yeah, he was amazing.
Yeah, or The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance, Lee Marvin.
Yeah.
Lee Marvin, a bad guy, gunslinger, and The Man Who Shot Liberty Valance. Wonderful performances.
Or Marlon Brando films.
Yes.
On the Waterfront. And come on.
Brando? A Streetcar Named Desire.
Streetcar Named Desire, my God. Incredible. Yeah.
But anyway, I think both of us, and I said, excited about movies because they're terrific, there's nothing like a great movie. It takes you somewhere else, just like Back to the Future, And I don't think we have that feeling, maybe Chris does. I don't have that feeling from Back to the Future because when you watch it, what do you feel? Well, I feel like, oh, that's that night I had the flu, or remember that time the car would never start. I would do everything right, and the car wouldn't start. We had to do it. So it's almost like a home movie, It's like a fun video that we made that actually everyone else got to watch too.
Very true. It's not even just a movie; it's like an experience, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know they
How
release
was I
the
at
new
that?
Star Wars every year. You guys are telling me
Don't
to check
stop,
out
don't
the
stop.
classics.
Okay. Well, we ran out of time. We'd have love to hear from you guys.
Wait
but,
a minute.
We I know, but it's been
I'm
so
just
great.
warming up, for God's sake.
Just warming up.
It's great, but thank you both so much for being here, and thank you so much for being a part of this movie that's been an experience for so many people's lives and continues to be so to this very day. It's a pleasure to meet you both.
Thank you very much. Who's next here? Because we could sit through their thing.
We're